I'm looking at performance max data from thousands of PMax campaigns across hundreds of accounts and trying to derive new insights at kind of a market level, an aggregated level, and also figure out what we can learn from those things. And just to show you a couple of things that are going to be appearing in this report, I have a time series of the count of PMax campaigns per account over time, how this is developed, because people joke a lot about PMax that Google wants you to just turn on a single PMax campaign and let it run. And we could get into a whole episode about why that's a bad idea. But what we see is that this number is developing strongly over time. So indeed, like if we go back to September 2022, when PMax really started rolling out at a very large scale, the average was like 2.5 campaigns per account. And now we're up much closer to 5 per account. So we've seen that steadily trending upward over time. Fact of the matter is that the most common value is still 1.
So we think, it's rather a question now.
Yeah.
Do we think that this development is a good sign by default? So the more granular, the better? Or are there some things to have a look at? Because it's not just a good thing to have 5 campaigns instead of 1. What is your take on it?
I mean, in general, we're seeing that accounts are a lot more consolidated than they were a few years back, and that this is generally a good thing. It's supportive of the technology. And so I don't want that chart to just keep going up forever, actually. I think there's probably a comfortable ceiling in there somewhere. But it does show me that in general, advertisers are getting a little bit more sophisticated with their builds. I think it's very healthy to see that number developing. I do think there's a logical extreme though, because you need to find the balance of granularity that offers you control and strategic steering, and then consolidation, which is the optimal environment for the algorithm.
The limits of granularity are somehow tied to the number of conversions per campaign.
Exactly.
Because the more granular you are, the less conversions you have, the less data the Google algorithm has to really perform. And I think that number we think is the absolute minimum per campaign should be around 30 conversions, roughly.
Yeah, even ideally, you'll have like 60 or more conversions. Okay. And I'll talk about that in the report too. I also want to show you quickly something that's developing with bid strategies. This one's really interesting to me. I first ran this report back in 2023, and there was like an 80% adoption of TROAS in PMax.
Okay.
Now we're seeing that number has been diminishing a bit over time. And I think I don't know why exactly, but it's an interesting trend. It's down more like around 70% or so now.
Potential reasons?
Well, one theory that I have, I noticed that the number started dropping around peak season in 2023.
Okay.
So I think in 2022, when PMax rolled out, people were just trying to handle the new technology, handle the migration. That's also why they probably had fewer campaigns back then. They were trying to keep things simple. I think in Q4 of 2023, maybe some people started trying to lift their ROAS targets for aggression, for the seasonality.
Makes sense.
And they decided not to turn it back on. It's just a hypothesis. I don't know.